Hello, this is the Kenyan Siasa, and I'm your host Jabali Yodawanadawa. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, yesterday the immediate former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and the party leader of DCP made a declaration that he is going to vie for the presidency in the 2027 general elections. This declaration was made in Nyandarua County. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, in this episode, we're trying to dig a translation of this move by Rigathi Gachagua with regards to the political dynamics in the 2027 general elections. Number one, we can say that Rigathi Gachagua has finally succumbed to pressure from his allies to vie for the presidency. You know it very well that the Kenyan politics is local. And right now, Rigathi Gachagua is a darling to the Mount Kenya region. Right now, there is no any other politician who has the allure, who has the charm that surpasses Rigathi Gachagua's allure. And therefore, this is the translation. In an event that Rigathi Gachagua vies for presidency, his party DCP will be the most popular party in the Gema region. And what does this mean? It means that any person vying for any seat within the Gema region through the ticket of DCP is likely to win. As we said, the Kenyan politics is local. And with this analogy, I can give you an example of Raila Amolo Odinga. Most of Raila Amolo Odinga's allies normally see it as a beautiful phenomenon for him to vie for presidency. Why? Because in an event that Raila Amolo Odinga vies for presidency, his party of ODM automatically becomes the most popular party in the Luo Nyanza region. And what does this mean? That anyone vying for presidency, not vying for presidency, anyone vying for any seat through the ODM party ticket in the Luo Nyanza region is likely to carry the day because it will be the most popular party at that time. Therefore, we can boldly say that Rigathi Gachagua has succumbed to pressure by his allies who have been pressurizing him to vie for the presidency for their personal gain. Because if he vies for presidency and they're in DCP, they're likely to carry the day. The likes of Murang'a County Senator Nyotu, they've been really pressing him that within the united opposition, you're the most popular person, and therefore you're not supposed to play a second fiddle. You're supposed to go for the prize. Therefore, we can say that Rigathi Gachagua has decided to vie for the presidency courtesy of the pressure that is being caused by his close allies. Another phenomenon that we can derive from this declaration by Rigathi Gachagua yesterday in Nyandarua is that we might end up with a rerun in the 2027 general elections. Yes, Rigathi Gachagua doesn't have that national appeal, but within the Gema region, Rigathi Gachagua right now is the darling. And remember, the Gema region is a heavily voter-rich bloc. And in an event that Rigathi Gachagua vies for presidency, even if he won't get any tangible votes away from the Gema region, still he will have substantial votes with him because the Gema region is a voter-rich bloc, and if they vote with one accord for him, he's going to get lots of votes. And now, if the other people or the other members within the united opposition disagree with Rigathi Gachagua, and they also formed their bloc or their coalition. Now we are talking about the Kalonzos, Wamalwas, and the rest of the people within the united opposition, even including Matiang'i. So that we are having Rigathi Gachagua on one end, another team by Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiang'i, Wamalwas on the other end, and finally we are having President William Ruto also vying. This will be tangible, formidable teams. Rigathi Gachagua will scoop concrete votes. At the same time, yes, Kalonzo Musyoka in this scenario won't be that strong, but will have some moderate strength. Therefore, he'll still scoop some millions of votes. Therefore, I beg your pardon. And on the other end, President William Ruto siding with maybe Raila Odinga, they will also end up taking tangible votes. Now, at the end of the day, with this makeup or matrix of these three formidable coalitions, chances are very high that none of them will manage to get the minimum constitutional requirement of 50 plus 1 votes to be declared president, because Rigathi will have formidable votes. On the other side, Kalonzo having some formidable votes, and also Ruto some votes. Therefore, we might not end up with a clear winner, one who will garner 50 plus 1 votes. And with this, we'll have to go for a rerun. Therefore, we can say that another phenomenon that we can derive from this declaration by Rigathi Gachagua yesterday in Nyandarua is that we might end up with a rerun come 2027 general elections. And finally, another factor that we can mint from this declaration is that President William Ruto might actually end up having an easy time. That President William Ruto might actually end up winning by a landslide. Here is how it might end up churning out. For example, if the other remaining team, the Kalonzo Musyokas, Matiang'i, get bitter, say for example, Kalonzo might argue that I'm senior politically, and therefore there is no way I'm going to play a second fiddle to Rigathi Gachagua. And because if Rigathi Gachagua is vying, and I, Kalonzo, also vie, and William Ruto vie, I stand no chance of winning. Therefore, I'm going to join President William Ruto's side so that I get, for example, some slots of cabinet and other gentleman agreement goodies with President William Ruto. In an event that the remaining team of united opposition, say Kalonzo Musyoka, the Eugene Wamalwas, decide that we are not going to support you, Rigathi Gachagua, in your bid to vie for the presidency and join President William Ruto, will now end up with only 2 candidates. That is President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And taking into consideration that Rigathi Gachagua doesn't have a national appeal. So yes, he will carry the day. He will take all the votes in Game Nation. However, he won't get tangible votes in other places away from the Game Nation. And here, now, President William Ruto will have by his side his Kalenjin-rich voter bloc. He will have the Ukambani side by Kalonzo Musyoka, and taking into consideration that Raila Odinga will also be in this, might also be in this camp, meaning that he will also have the Western Kenya, the Luo Nation. It will be a clear landslide victory for President William Ruto in such kind of a scenario. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, we reach the halt of this episode. For those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're humbled, we're glad, thank you. And for those of you who are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we beseech you to show some love by subscribing Then hit on the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload content. Until next time, I'm Jabali, Udawa, and Adawa. Bye-bye.